The Anatomy of a Fall, or Anatomy of a Fall, came out, and I saw it. The synopsis I was reading, I was like, you know what? It doesn't seem like a good movie. It seems like an alright movie, but I'm gonna go watch it anyways. And what I think? Well, I was pleasantly surprised. It is a pretty good movie. Neon is on a roll. Neon being I would assume the film company that made Anatomy of a Fall and The Royal Hotel, which I reviewed last video. But of course, Anatomy of a Fall, you read the synopsis, it pretty much does give. Alright, so basically the movie is about a woman and a husband and a kid, right? But of course, you don't see the husband, right? Because he dies. That's not a spoiler. That happens. All right, that's basically what they tell you, right? But the different parts of the movie is that they're accusing her of murder. Why? Because they live in the middle of nowhere in, like, I think France. I think that's where the movie takes place in, right? Good thing there are subtitles, because I wanted to go see the movie. I saw French words. I was like, oh, what the hell? Did I waste my money? Because I thought they weren't gonna put subtitles, but they did put subtitles, and there are English. And then the main character, the mom, speaks English, so whatever, right? But of course they accuse her, right? Because there's basically no one in the area, surrounding area, that would really try to murder him, right? Or try to murder him besides his own wife. And also because, well, the fall in of itself does not seem that plausible, and we later find out with the court case and all that stuff, their marriage has been on a downward spiral for quite some time. So anyways, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. The cinematography is great. It's really good. It's filmed like a regular old movie, and also filmed like a documentary type shots, whatever. And of course, the first one goes with how the murder goes, right? And not the murder goes, how the husband falls and dies. And let me tell y'all something. Well, first of all, the dad loves rap, and it's funny, right? Because one of his favorite songs that he likes to play, as they say in the movie, is the instrumental for 50 Cent's PIMP. That's right. But let me tell y'all, that is super loud. I get that's the whole point. They're like, oh yeah, he played it super loud for a specific reason, which we'll talk about later. But damn, it was so loud. It was making me mad in the movie, bro. I wasn't ready to leave. I was ready to just walk out and come back like 2 minutes later. Hopefully the sound was gone. But whatever. And of course, with his love with rap, he named the dog, because he have a dog, and his name's Snoopy. Actually, I think it's just Snoop. So, I would assume he named them because of Snoop Dogg, which is fun, which is a fun thing to do. It adds a little bit more life into the family life. But of course, that life kind of goes, gone because he dies. Like, you don't see the fall, right? But you do see when his son finds him, right? When he goes for his walk with his dog, he comes back and he sees his dad, well, dead, basically. And of course, they have to go ask all these questions and all that stuff, and then she's being put on for murder. Why? Because she's also a writer, by the way. She's a writer, and later on in the movie, they're like, oh, what's more interesting? A teacher, which was the dad's profession, but he also wanted to be a writer, killing himself, or the writer killing her own husband, which I would assume they would say in hopes of getting new material, right? But of course, the movie is once again one of them film bros movies. There's not really too many twists and turns. It just stuff gets slowly revealed one after the other. The thing is, this is a 2.5 hour long movie. Does it feel like it? No. Which is why I think it's a good film, because when you don't feel the actual time of the movie, especially something like 2.5 hours, I think you made a good movie. Of course, there are some times where you don't feel it, but you definitely feel like, damn, this scene might be a little too long, right? But of course, it goes through this court case. Why? Because, the mom, which I will bring up her name, Sandra, right, is basically pleading, or not pleading, but presenting the case that her husband, in fact, killed himself, right? And as we get to see more and more of the movie, it presents both sides with, a lot, right? It presents it because it was a broken home, right? Why? Because Sandra and her husband, Samuel, had a kid, right? His name is Daniel. But their son was in an accident, I think, when he was like 4. I think that's what they said in the movie, which permanently damaged his eyes, where he basically, I would assume he can't see anything like 2 feet in front of him or farther. And of course, that put a lot of strain in their marriage. As we later get to see, it points a lot in Sandra having more and more of a thing of trying to kill her own husband, but also that he also trying to kill himself, right? They do very well with it, and also the court scenes. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but it seems pretty good because the prosecutor and the was it the defense, they always be doing that. They're like, "Oh, did you mean this? Yeah, but then what did you mean this other thing?" And it gets annoying. It's like, bruh. But I guess that's the whole point, right? Because it's court. The prosecutor trying to get anything, trying to prove that you're guilty, right? But of course, what is the verdict? It comes out that Sandra, in fact, did not kill her husband, or at least that's what the court says, for all we know. Just kidding, no. I don't think she did kill her husband, right? But that her husband killed himself, right? Because of the tragedy of their son, being basically blind. And also his wife cheating on him, which in the movie she tries to explain, oh, it wasn't cheating because I told my husband, the husband that was basically in emotional distress because of the events that happened to our son. Yeah, I just told him and he said it's all right. Yeah, I probably hardly doubt that thing was really 100% he was into that, right? But of course she was sleeping with other men and women, right? And she actually did cheat on him, which was a thing that they did do. Because after the events of the tragedy, she still went out and had intimate relations with another person, and they were like, "Oh, is this and that, right?" But also, the main factor that kind of proves her innocence, because they do have fights. They literally record a fight where she slaps him. Although it's not visual, you can hear it audibly, and she does admit to it. So it's starting to say, "Damn." And not only that, in the beginning of the movie, she's interviewing, as they say, a nice young woman, and of course, since Sandra, the main character, is bi, that would cause some tension with the husband who knows that she cheats on him, right? Or she cheated on him, having a young, hotter woman in the house, right? So he plays his music. I would assume obnoxiously loud, like louder than usual. But the main defense is that he already tried to attempt to kill himself. Like the whole thing was like, oh, I saw him like throw up one morning, right? And there was some white stuff in the vomit, but I didn't know what it was until later on. She kind of says, "Oh, it was aspirin," right? He tried to overdose in aspirin at night, but no, he threw it up. And the thing is, the kid actually gets a lot of screen time, and it works for him because he kind of gets to prove, unfortunately, that his own dad killed himself. And that was because he did his own experiment because he saw how Snoop reacted after the events of his dad throwing up, right? And he doesn't want to talk about what happened, right? Obviously, because you don't want to talk about you trying to kill yourself to your own family, right? But Snoop was acting a very weird way. And as of course, he was very thirsty. Why? Because he consumed the aspirin in the throw up. And how do you know that? By feeding his dog aspirin again. He fed his own dog aspirin, and then obviously made him throw up so he doesn't die. But he did the same thing. Was super thirsty. And it's like, yeah, my dad tried to kill himself with aspirin. And the nail in the coffin for the movie was that when his dad was taking Snoop and his son to the vet, to check him out, right? He says this, although it's not exactly what he says, but it's basically in the lines of this: Daniel, you will have to be tough because one day, or Snoop may pass. It's something that you'll have to deal with, right? It's not going to be easy, but you're going to have to face it anyways, right? And of course, that obviously means himself. Why? Because even Daniel figured it out, being Snoop is young. He's not gonna die. He may have consumed aspirin, but he's not gonna die. It's not a lethal dose. He's okay. But no, of course, he figures out that he was talking about himself. That since he already attempted to, end his own life, that he was gonna do it again, and that his son needed to be ready for his death. Right? It wasn't something that he could stop, and it was something that he was gonna do anyways. And it was sad. Why? Because someone lost their husband and their dad, and not only that, she gets accused of killing her own husband, and the son has to witness the court case of whether or not his own mother, took his own dad's life, right? Of course, it hits them both hard and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, she does prove her innocence because of Daniel, which it helps with the screen time and all that stuff. But it's still a sad movie. Although my review is just a rough draft of it, I cannot do the movie justice. There's a reason why it's rated so highly on Rotten Tomatoes. Although Rotten Tomatoes, it's not really the most accurate review system. I think they got this one right. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. It's very emotional, and they do it right. They do it well. Right? And the lawyer, he's also a good actor character. And yeah, it's nothing but praise for this movie. The only negative of it is that it's just may not be as good as other movies. It's like it's great, but like there's maybe nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing more to add, if you get what I'm saying. So if you have time to watch this movie, I recommend you watch it if it's still in your theaters. And of course, Discount Tuesday, like I said, everyone's friend. You don't want to go watch you don't want to go watch it for full price? Discount Tuesday, perfect time to watch this movie. But like I said, Anatomy of a Fall, great movie. Cinematography is great, acting is great. There's really nothing wrong with this movie. The only thing that you could get is Sandra. You just don't like Sandra's character, which could be something that could turn you off from the movie. But at the end of the day, that's kind of like the point. They kind of have to make her seem a little bit worse, not like a perfect wife or a mother or something like that, but someone that, given enough bad qualities, would actually make her seem like someone that would end her own husband's life, right? That's how it works, and it kind of did. I was like, damn, she might have actually done it. I was like, damn, bro, she actually might have done it. But no. They fixed all that. So she's innocent. Still doesn't have her husband, so it's still depressing. But yeah, it's one of those movies where there's really no payoff. There's just less damage. The mom gets reunited with her son. She's free. She's innocent. But, of course, the husband's still gone. It's not like anything gets better. They still have to get through, the whole trauma and all that stuff, right? But, like I said, hope you enjoy this review. The next video will be Jordan Peele's movie reviews. That's right. I'll be reviewing the Jordan Peele movies for Halloween. And we'll see if he's really an overrated director or underrated. But anyways, like I said, hope you enjoy this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.